In this lesson, we are going to cover configuring a multi-language project in WinCC Unified. In preparation for this lesson, I did create a multi-language screen, and on our main screen I did include a push button that will allow us to navigate to the multi-language screen. I'm going to go over to the project tree, and I'm going to scroll down to the Languages and Resources area. There is a section under here called Project Languages. So I'm going to open up Project Languages. This is where you would select the languages that you would like to have included in your project. So I'm going to scroll over to the far right hand side, and I'm going to select Spanish Mexico for my second language in this project. So when I look at the editing languages over here and look at this drop down, I now have two languages, English and Spanish, in the project. So I'm going to leave it as English for my editing language. Next, I'm going to go back to the project tree, and underneath the Unified Comfort panel, I'm going to open up the Runtime settings. And I'm going to select Language and Font. You can have multiple languages configured in the project, but you do have to select which languages that you want to enable for runtime. So right now, only the English language is enabled for runtime. So I'm going to select the Spanish Mexico language. So now that language will be downloaded into the panel as well. I'm going to open up the multi-language screen. And I'm going to select this text box up here. This is going to be the text box that we are going to change the text on so that we can switch between English text and Spanish text. I'm going to select the Text tab. So whenever you select the Text tab, whatever object you have selected, it will show all the text properties so that you can enter in the text in either language that you would like. So if I come down to the Spanish column, I will type in Spanish text. I will select my task card, and then I'm going to change the editing language from English to Spanish. Now this text up here changes to say Spanish text, which is what is in the Spanish text column. I will switch that back to English, and all of my text on the screen will switch back to English. Next, I will select the Toggle Language button, and I will look at the events for this button. When we press this button, it will toggle between all of the runtime languages. So I'm going to select the press event, and I will just start typing in toggle. And then I can select the toggle language function. So now each time this button is pressed during runtime, it will toggle the language from English to Spanish back to English. I will select the Set English button, and on the press event here, I'm going to type in set L, and I am going to pick the set language function. Then I am going to click on the pink field over here. On the far right hand side, if I select this drop down, I can pick if I'm going to select a specific runtime language or use an HMI tag and supply the language via the HMI tag. We're just going to use runtime language in this lesson. Then I will select the drop down and I will pick the English language. Each language does have a unique identifier associated with it. So the English language is 1033. So I will select English. I will select the Spanish button and repeat that process. Pick set language. This time I will select the Spanish language. Its ID is 2058. Next, I'm going to show you the Tools menu. You can select Export Project Text, or you can select Import Project Text. So I will select Export. This allows me to export all of the text in the project for this HMI for translation. Then once the translations are complete, you would be able to import the translations back into this project. So I will select Cancel. I'm going to go over to the project tree, and I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to look under Languages and Resources again. So there's an entry for project text. So if I double click on project text, this would show me all of the project text in this project. I can also pick and choose which devices I would see the text for. So this would only be the text, for the HMI. So then you would have an English column and a Spanish column where you can enter in your text translations. There's also a project graphics area, and you can have multilingual graphic. So if you want to have English flag for English language, and then you could have a Spanish flag for the Spanish language. I'm going to save my project, select my HMI, and start the simulation. I'm going to go down to Runtime Values, uncheck Keep Current User Administration, and select Load. I'm going to open up my Chrome browser and log into the Runtime system. I will select my admin user, enter in my password, HMI 12345, and select Sign In. And I will select the multi-language screen. So right now my language is in English, so I'm seeing the English text. I will pick the Set Spanish button. My text changes to my Spanish text. Pick my English text and I'm back. And I can also press the toggle language button as well. In this lesson, we covered configuring a multi-language application in the WinCC unified system.